You're with DJ Nathan Suttie, and I'm bringing you the first installment of World Eats and Beats from A Taste of Abroad. Now, today we're going to be mixing up some live DJing here with some great house tunes. We're also mixing up some excellent food. We're going to be doing a traditional dish which hails out of Italy, which is a classic spaghetti carbonara. Now, many of you probably had your own version of carbonara, but I'm going to try to create one that's authentic. Now, we've already got some dried pasta noodles in here. They've been cooking for the purposes of this video for about 4 to 5 minutes. A teaspoon of salt in there as well with the boiling water. So while that's going, we've actually got a hot pan here, which I've put a tablespoon of olive oil in. We're going to add in 125 grams of pancetta. Now, I say pancetta, if you really want to do a traditional Italian carbonara, you will need guanciale, which is the pork cheek, the pork jowl. It's very hard to find here on the coast, so I'm going to be using pancetta, which is a good substitute. You can use bacon, but I would recommend definitely try to use guanciale if you can get it. Otherwise, pancetta is, a fine substitute as well. So we've got that there on a medium-high heat. So we're going to get some colour in there. We've got the noodles going as well. While that's going, we're going to get the next tune lined up here for the live DJ mix. That's going on while we're cooking this dish. So let's see what we can go on for this one. Alright, so we're going to blend in a remix of a classic house tune. Now, if anyone's into their house, you would recognise this particular tune from the early 90s. It really is a classic, so we're going to bring in this one. It's George Morel, Let's Groove. We've got the pancetta going there while that's mixing in. Getting a little bit of colour on there. Okay, and just so you know, when you are cooking this particular meal, you can get it on the table within about 10 minutes or so. Pancetta is starting to look great here. The noodles, they're coming along. You want them to be al dente, ideally. So normally about 8 to 10 minutes or so for the noodles. Now, while we're mixing that one in, what we're going to do is we've cracked 3 eggs into a bowl. We're going to give those a light whisk. And what you want to add into this is you're going to add in some pepperoni cheese. Now, pepperoni is a sheep's milk cheese. Very traditional to use pepperoni in this dish. If you can't find it, or if you're perhaps on a budget, Parmesan cheese is a fine substitute. So we're using about 50 grams or so. We're going to have a little bit extra there to put over the top, but that's about 50 grams or so for the 2 people. We're going to just mix that gently in there, so that's all combined. Okay, so now on the drinks watch today, we're going to be doing reviews and ratings of all particular drinks. Now, we've actually got something that's, I think, quite fitting today. It's lunchtime, perhaps a little bit early for a beer for me today. So today we're having San Pellegrino. It's quite, I personally like it. I'm not sure you can tell the difference, between this and maybe another sparkling water, but it is definitely a classic. Yeah, so you have to be looking at least, 7 out of 10 for that one. We've got some colour coming on the pancetta there. great. The fat's starting to render down, which is exactly what we want. While that fat's rendering down, we're going to get the next tune lined up here.
So this one's actually a bit of a newer tune. It's by a great name, this group, Monkey Safari. It's called Safe. It's an excellent tune. Really sort of relaxing kind of house. You'll see what I mean when it comes in. Brilliant, amazing. Pancetta going nicely there. Those noodles are almost done as well. Okay, so we're just going to fade out on this particular tune. Sounding pretty good. Now, an important thing, if you're not already doing this when you're cooking pasta, is you want to reserve about a cup of the pasta water. What that is going to do is, have a guess, it's actually going to act to emulsify this dish, which is going to give you a really lovely glossy thick sauce. So I'm just going to turn that down a little bit. What we're going to do now is we're actually going to add in the noodles. It's looking pretty good there. We're going to add all those noodles in there, and while we're adding that in, we're going to get a little bit of the pasta water there as well. And I would say probably start off with about a third of a cup or so. About a third of a cup or so is probably the perfect point to start off with. And in the meantime, we're just going to line up another tune to come into this one. So this is everyone knows this tune. This is a remix of a really well-known tune, so you'll really know this one when this one comes in. Alright, so we've got our noodles here. What I'm going to do now is, this is a really important step. I'm actually going to take this off the heat, because what you don't want is you don't want the eggs to scramble. Because if the eggs scramble, that's really not what you want. So I'm just going to add that in quickly, and then quickly take that off the heat. I'm going to stir that through now. Make sure that that's all getting mixed in nice and lovely there. Now, that's going to need a little bit more pasta water, so we're going to add in probably another third of a cup of the pasta water or so. Probably using about 2/3 there. I'm just going to mix that off. That's off the heat now, so you don't have to worry about that sort of scrambling. So in this particular case, you're probably actually going to need about the whole cup, which is fine. And then sometimes you'll need a little bit more than other times. Dish this up. Oh, look at that. Absolutely beautiful. You've got thick glossy sauce there. You've got the pancetta, which looks beautiful. Now we're going to top that with some of this beautiful cheese as well. Oh, why not a little bit more? You never have enough cheese, I really think. And we've got a fork here as well. Oh, look at that. Absolutely beautiful. It's thick, it's coating the pasta. You've got the beautiful pancetta there as well. Let's see how it tastes. If it tastes as good as it looks, we're in for a treat. really good. Now, as a suggestion, I like to leave the pepper off so then people can add their own. I personally like a little bit of pepper, so I normally sprinkle it over the top, and look at that. You've got your authentic spaghetti carbonara. Now, if you like the recipe today, please like World Eats and Beats, which you'll find on the Taste of Abroad. And any questions, don't hesitate to ask us.